The U.S. has unveiled Operation Economic Outcast, a sweeping campaign of financial sanctions and diplomatic pressure aimed at isolating Iran from the global economy. According to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, all countries and entities helping Iran economically will face secondary sanctions. This move is designed to force Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and give up its nuclear program. However, China, a key player in the situation, might not fully comply with these sanctions due to its leverage over rare earth materials. The implications of this operation are far-reaching, with potential consequences for global trade and economic stability. Iran is likely to retaliate by attempting to trigger an oil price spike and a global inflationary shock. This could lead to a major escalation in the conflict, with unforeseen repercussions for the global economy. As the situation continues to unfold, it's essential to consider multiple perspectives and potential outcomes. We'll be keeping a close eye on developments and providing in-depth analysis to help you stay informed. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're diving into a complex financial story that's been unfolding over the past week. It appears that Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is taking bold steps to influence long-term yields in the bond market. The government has announced an expanded buyback plan, which aims to increase demand for long-duration bonds and decrease yields. However, this move has sparked a heated debate among financial experts, with some arguing that it's a form of price management that could ultimately backfire. One notable critic is billionaire investor Stanley Druckenmiller, who has a history with Secretary Bessent dating back to their time at Soros Fund Management. Druckenmiller has written a scathing op-ed, calling the buyback expansion a mistake and comparing it to a credible fiscal package. He believes that governments defending prices against fundamentals always lose, and that high yields serve as a natural warning sign for high debt and rising budget deficits. On the other hand, the Treasury Department cites consistent strong sponsorship from market participants as the reason for expanding buybacks. They argue that this move will help to stabilize the bond market and keep interest rates in check. It's worth noting that the government has also floated the prospect of using a dramatically larger pool of funds to step up purchases of government debt, which could potentially have a calming effect on the bond market. As we navigate this complex issue, it's essential to consider multiple perspectives and evaluate the potential consequences of the government's actions. While some experts see this move as a necessary step to support the economy, others view it as a risky intervention that could have unintended effects. We will continue to monitor this story and provide updates as more information becomes available. Welcome back to Concrete Block. The rise of the far-right Alternative for Germany Party, or AfD, has been making headlines in recent years, and it's essential to examine this phenomenon in a fair and balanced manner. As we explore the story, it becomes clear that the AfD's popularity is not limited to any one particular demographic. The party has gained support from voters across the country, including younger Germans, middle-aged individuals, and even some international backers. However, it's crucial to note that this support is not uniform, and that many people in Germany and around the world are deeply concerned about the AfD's radical ideology. One of the key issues surrounding the AfD is its stance on immigration and its impact on the German economy. While some argue that the party's anti-immigrant rhetoric could harm the country's ability to attract skilled foreign labor, others see it as a necessary step to address concerns about national identity and security. Historians like Ilko Sasha Kowalczuk have sounded the alarm, warning that the AfD's ideology is rooted in fascist ideas and that its rise could mark the beginning of a new authoritarian era worldwide. On the other hand, some analysts argue that the party's voters are not necessarily extremist, but rather individuals who feel disillusioned with the current political establishment. As we consider the implications of the AfD's rise, it's essential to remember that this is not just a German issue, but a global phenomenon. The spread of far-right ideologies and populist movements can be seen in many countries, from the United States to Italy, and it's crucial that we approach these developments with a nuanced understanding of their complexities. In conclusion, The story of the AfD's rise serves as a reminder that the world is becoming increasingly polarized, and it's up to us to stay informed and engaged. As we navigate these complex issues, it's essential to prioritize critical thinking, empathy, and open-mindedness. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay informed.